Well, this is a conversation that can be difficult to have with your children, talking about the unpredictability of natural disasters. Blanca Cobb has a master's degree in psychology, and we're talking about this today. And some parents, and understandably so, Blanca, they're a little more reluctant to talk to their kids about natural disasters. Why is that?
It's a really good point you bring up, Eric. Parents get worried because they don't want to make their children more scared, right? Life can be scary. So some parents feel if they don't talk about it, their kids are not going to be exposed to it. But here's the deal, though. Information goes so quickly at school, friends, kids see TV shows, the news, social media. So the information is out there. And think about this also. Schools have fire drills and tornado drills. So they're already getting some exposure to this. And it really helps if parents can fill in the blanks, because a lot of times children have unanswered questions.
So then what do you say to young children about natural disasters? How do you start that conversation?
A lot of times you can use a news story as a jumping off point. And with younger children, you might want to do a wait and see approach and see what they tell you. What have they heard from their friends or at school? And then you answer their questions. But the key with young children, you want to make sure that your answers are short and to the point and not a lot of details. The main questions that young children have is, will it happen here and will I be safe? Those are the main two questions that a majority of young children have for parents.
All right, so let's flip the coin then, talk about older kids, because that's a whole different conversation. How do you approach that?
Absolutely correct. It is a whole different conversation. With older kids, they're going to want a more deep dive into the topic. They're going to sometimes they want to know the likelihood. How does that happen? Some might have weather questions. Well, what happens in the weather that would even cause a tornado? They might want to say, well, what would we do if our house was demolished because of a natural disaster? How are we going to stay safe? What is our plan? So they're going to have more thought-provoking questions for parents. But one thing that parents should keep in mind at all times, regardless of how old your children are, is this. The calmer you are, the calmer and more relaxed your children are going to be, because they're looking at you for guidance on how to respond in crisis situations.
Blanca, thank you. And if you're at home and you're still unsure about how to have this conversation, you can refer back to this segment anytime you want to. It's on our website, WFMYnews2.com. One thing that Blanca says that's so very true is that your demeanor determines how they react. And that even goes for little bumps and bruises on a playground. If you're that reactive parent that runs up and, are you okay? You instill fear in them. It's the same story. And even older kids, I think, they still subconsciously look to the parent to see what the level of anxiety is.
I would even say as a young adult as well, like if your family's going through something and you see them being anxious, you're going to be worried and concerned too. But when I see my parents, just have an open, honest conversation with me, it calms me down that I don't need to be worrying about whatever, the situation is.
You're about to experience
I
all of
was
this.
just about to say, I haven't gotten to that point yet, except for like if she, the other day she kind of headbutted me and she kind of looked at me like,
What
am I
happened?
supposed to cry? And, I of course was like, I'm so sorry, but I need to remember to remain calm. But I think back to how my parents handled 9/11 when I was in 5th grade when that happened. And I think that they did a good job. My mom was really calm when I had questions. She answered, but she said, hey, I'm gonna let you watch this news coverage for this amount of time, but then I want you to go and do something else. And I really appreciated her for doing that, because I think I was able to watch, I was able to ask questions, but she didn't want me to be fully focused on it 24/7.
That's a good example.
Yeah, even as adults, you don't want to sit there and watch that for like 10 hours. It gets to be too much.
Weighs on you.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, refer back to that segment. It's on our website if you need it.